Oh God. What no. Good morning, everybody. Trey Griggs here, Beta Consulting Group. It is Monday morning. Hope you're off to a great start this week. It is Mindset Monday. Hopefully you caught us this morning at 6 a.m. with my good friend Hayden Allred for Iron Minds, episode 15. We talked about getting out of that funk in life. Make sure you join us every Monday morning at 6 a.m. to get your week started off right, get your mind right, get your body right. Have a great week. And we had a great conversation this morning. It was a lot of fun. But hope you're doing well out there. We're coming to you live with episode 93 of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership powered by Beta Consulting Group. We are creeping up on episode 100, which is going to happen next Wednesday. We've got a fabulous show planned for you next Wednesday to celebrate 100 episodes. In the meantime, go check us out over at betaconsultinggroup.com. See how we're helping companies with their messaging, their content creation, their social media strategies, podcasting, whatever it is. Anything to tell their story and build their brand, we're specializing in helping companies do that. So check us out, fill out a form. And while you're there, see some of the new items in our swag store. You can click on those items or click on the banner and shop. Go to shop.betaconsultinggroup.com. Pick up a water bottle, pick up a coffee mug, a t-shirt, all kinds of great stuff there to help you guys out. And it's our grand opening here in July, so you might as well use the coupon code BETA-GO and save yourself 30% on your entire order. Be a part of what we're doing here at Standing Out and Word on the Street and Beta Consulting Group to build a community of people pursuing excellence every day. Love for you to be a part of that. Enjoy the swag, get the discount, and be a part of what we're doing here. Also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, to TAFS. These are the good guys in freight factoring. They're helping companies with all the things that they need, the trucking companies, the owner operators, with fuel discounts, tire discounts, cash flow needs with factoring, and all kinds of other great resources, insurance needs, small business loans, everything like that. If you are behind the wheel of a truck, first of all, thank you. Appreciate what you are doing. Make sure you go over to TAFS.com or click on the link in the comments button to go right to my landing page so they know that I sent you. Get started with them today. They're all about helping drivers, educating drivers, make sure they have all the resources that they need. And if you're a freight broker, you can become a referral partner and make sure that your carriers have all the resources they need to keep those wheels moving, keep that freight moving across the country. It's so important. And again, make sure you thank a driver today because drivers are so critical in our industry. Appreciate that. All right, everybody, we're going to have a great week of shows this week. And we're going to kick it off with a friend of mine that I met several years ago who's just doing some phenomenal things in the sleepy kind of undercover town of Kansas City, one of the best freight towns in the country, if you haven't been there, and just doing some great things over at Sethmar. So please welcome my good friend, the president of Sethmar Transportation, Andy Tuley. Andy, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Trey. How's it going?
Good to see you, man. How's everything in Kansas City, my hometown?
It is good. First and foremost, I'm going to echo thank you to all the truck drivers out there for keeping 100%. Things running. We would not be here without that. But in Kansas City, it is hot. It's going to be 97 today and sticky.
Yep.
That is July in Kansas City.
Well, now in St. Louis, I get the same weather just about 4 to 6 hours later. So we're going to get the warm weather again today as well. I remember growing up in Kansas City. I grew up in Raytown. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I grew up right over in Raytown, right by the stadium. Go Chiefs to our Chiefs. But you got to watch little Patty Mahomes play some golf this weekend. So
it was pretty exciting. Was out in Tahoe for the event, actually with our wine consolidator out in Northern California. They invite us up.
Oh man, I feel so bad for you.
It was got a fist pound from Mahomes and Kelsey, so it was cool. So
that is cool. That's awesome, man. Not too often you get to be that up and close and personal. And those celebrity golf tournaments are a blast for that kind of stuff.
They were awesome. Great representatives of Kansas City, great ambassadors, and I think everyone had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's nice being a Kansas City Chiefs fan finally. I grew up in the 90s where couldn't get past the AFC Championship game, and then the 2000s were brutal. Nice to be on the winning side of that. I got you on the air. What's your prediction this year for the Chiefs? Like what do you think the record is? 17 games. What do you think the record is? How far do they go? What do you got?
I'll go 14-3, back to Super Bowl champions.
I love it. I mean, it's amazing that that's our expectation now. That's literally our expectation.
If it's not at least the AFC Championship game, it's a bust. But yeah, like we're going back to Super Bowl. So
man, we are so spoiled right now, but we're riding it. We're loving it. Loving the
yes.
ride. It's a lot of fun right now. All right. And by the way, your comment about truck drivers, so true. But I would say this: we probably would be here. We just wouldn't have nearly as much stuff as we would. As we wouldn't have the things we need. It's so important to have the drivers around. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your career. And real quick, for those who might not know who you are, take 30 seconds and just tell us about yourself and what you guys are doing at Sethmar Transportation.
Sure. Name's Andy Tuley, president at Sethmar, locally owned here in Kansas City. We are on the freight brokerage side. We have an office in Denver, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Chicago. And honestly, we're about our people. And, fueled with the right technology and the background stuff you need, we've been able to really kind of capture magic in a bottle. And we've gone from 20 people up to about 75, 80 in the last 2 years. During the pandemic, create a lot more jobs. And, when you have a fun culture and people like doing what they do, that shines through in every aspect of the business.
Yeah, 100%. I've had the chance to be in your office. In fact, I was at the old office when you guys were busting at the seams. I mean, people were like, on top of each other in corners. And I think one guy was in a closet or a bathroom somewhere. But, to the new office now where it's, it's a beautiful office, more space, a little more room. But you guys are still starting to fill that up pretty quickly. What's been the kind of key to success at Sethmar in terms of, the growth that you've had and the culture that you've been able to build?
For us, we're actually moving our office. We're in the process. We'll get it done this month. We went from like 4,000 to about 10,000. We're going to 20,000 feet this fall. So we're moving again, but that's just been part of it. Again, it's having someplace that's fun to work. People want to come. Remote office is still a big topic of conversation, and we're very flexible with people. But it's crazy to see on a Monday morning, we're packed. Everyone's in the office because people want to be here. They like their coworkers. They like the collaboration that goes on, and it really creates that I don't know, that magic thing of, and the freight brokerage floor just inherently is fun. A lot of yelling, just throwing footballs around, that kind of stuff. It's fun.
Well, that's an interesting kind of dynamic because when you have work from home or remote work or whatever, and some people are asking for that, I think the real challenge is to just create a culture where people actually want to come into the office. We've seen some other brokerages do that, other companies do that. Molo in Chicago built a crazy, stupid good office. Edge Logistics just built a great office as well. Like, countering the people that maybe want to work remote by just saying, hey, you're missing out. Like, you're actually going to miss out if all you want to do is work from home. Not that there's necessarily anything inherently wrong with working from home, but you miss that culture. You miss kind of that camaraderie, throwing footballs around, shared experiences, going to lunch, those types of things. And it sounds like you guys have taken the route. Are you requiring people to be in the office, or are you just trying to create such a great environment that they just want to be here?
So we ask people to be in, especially with our growth rate. If you're coming in new to Sethmar, whatever, we're going to ask you to be here to help learn the brand and how we go about things and who does what. But then over time, again, we offer, you got the roof repair guy coming or whatever coming, work from home, do your stuff. But really drives it is accountability. And when you really like who you work with and you're responsible for something, you're letting them down if you're not doing what you need to do. And so that accountability and respect across all the teams has been awesome.
Yeah, that's so critical to have the accountability piece, to have the right technology where you can know what production have they done, have they gotten things accomplished, and obviously technology now allows you to do that. But I think what's actually going to shift is two things. I think employers are going to start hiring people for their productivity, not their time, which I think is actually a positive thing. But then two, working hard to create that culture where they want to be a part, they want to be included. And if they aren't, they're going to miss out on something. They're going to miss out on something that happens at the office. They're going to miss out on some tickets to a game last minute. They're going to miss out on going to lunch together, whatever it is, and really just making a place where they want to be there. I think that's really wise to have both sides of that, the flexibility side and really hiring for productivity, and also creating that culture where they want to be a part. It sounds like you guys are so far really kind of knocking it out of the park on both of those.
Yeah, no, I like the hiring for productivity. I think the mindset of, well, I worked 10 hours yesterday, it's kind of gone out the window. I don't want to say old school, but like, it's great if you work 10 hours, but if you get that work done in 5 and then you go do whatever else you need to, get it done in 5. And like, that's a great way to frame it. I like that. I've not heard that before.
And I think if people knew that, hey, this is what we're hiring you to do is to get this work done, and they get it done and they actually get a little more time themselves, I do think people would actually work harder, hopefully work smarter, hopefully, find better ways to do things, which is going to
Yeah.
enhance the entire company. And so I like the idea of hiring for productivity as opposed to just, I think when you're hiring for time, people are just looking at the clock all day, like just, can't wait to clock this thing out. But if they're just trying to get some things done, they're going to feel more productive. They're going to get things done. I like that a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to think about it, to be honest.
Yeah. So let's talk about your career for a moment. So you started in logistics a long time ago. Talk about your progression a little bit. What was your first role in logistics? What'd you do?
So I was hired at C.H. Robinson in the fall of 2007, and I was on the West Coast team. So I was responsible for some sales for
right there in Kansas City.
Yep, in Kansas City.
Yep.
Mark Bagucki was a mentor of mine, hired me there. He was one of the VPs at Robinson that actually worked at the branch level. He didn't work up in Eden Prairie, and so he was fantastic. Jason Banky was my team leader. I worked for him all 5 years I was there. He was a great mentor. I learned a lot from Jason as well. But we were responsible for all the freight heading west out of our office. And then when you had free time, you're doing sales. So it really created kind of, a jack of all trades mindset. You learned each side of the business. So it was pretty fortunate to work with two great guys and learn a lot from all the different angles.
Yeah. And how long were you at C.H. Robinson?
I was there 5 years, and ironically, Fortune 100 company here in town, the Schooler Company, approached me about starting a domestic brokerage for them. They had an import-export business, so had all these customers that shipped domestically, but they weren't doing anything with it. The weird part was they were on the 8th floor of the same office building in Kansas City. And I know a lot of people think Kansas City is small. I swear it's a little bit bigger than that.
It's only one office building.
One office building. And so I opted to go. I had a good buddy from college that was working there in a different group, and he kind of started the conversation. So I took that job, moved up 3 floors in the office building, and had some awkward elevator rides over the years. But time heals all, right? And so I spent 3 years there. Started as a one-man band. When I left, we were a 5 or 6 person team. And so the CEO of Schooler left and formed a holding company. And he recruited us over to say, they wanted a brokerage arm to support some of the commodity groups that they were enfolded into this holding company. So I went over there, started their brokerage for them. Was a great learning experience, got much more into the P&L side of things. And I was only responsible for the sales, business development, and marketing side. So that was what I focused on. Like 0 to 70 million in about 4 years. So
that's impressive. Now I have to go back to going to a new office in the same building. I'm imagining you walking in with like a newspaper up on your face, or
yes,
a hat down low, or trying to kind of hide yourself just a little bit the first couple of days to get on the elevator.
It was awkward. I took the stairs a lot, up 8 floors.
That's good for you.
Yeah. And going down wasn't as bad. But there were a couple of days I remember coming down the elevator, and I'd stopped on the 5th floor. And a couple of people would be looking at me. They said, "We'll take the next one." I was like, "Come on!" I'm one of those people. It's a really, really big industry. There's enough business out there for everybody. Yeah. Everyone has relationships. It's a friendly competition in my mind.
Yeah. There's enough pie to go around, especially if you're, one of the good guys in freight. If you're doing the right things and caring about people, there's enough pie to go around. 100%. Yes. I love that. In fact, what I'm really loving right now is I'm starting to see a lot of companies who historically would be known as competitors to one another, who are collaborating and working together, realizing, hey, I play over here, you play over there. There might be some crossover, but how can we help each other get better? Which raises the level of our industry, which is just phenomenal. Like we need that kind of, collaboration and activity, and not to be afraid of other people who are doing the same business, but actually embrace them. I think that's really, really beneficial.
Well, there's a lot to be learned there. And if you focus on what's right for the customer or what's right for the carrier, not necessarily what's right for your bottom line, you get a lot further in life. And maybe this customer doesn't necessarily fit the wheelhouse of what we're doing at Sethmar, but I'm sure I know somebody that maybe they fit better with. And, that referral maybe gets you 2 referrals back, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Trying to understand intrinsically what you're good at and staying in those white lines is important over time.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's hard to think of like, well, I'm going to tell a customer that we're not the best fit for them and maybe help them find somebody else. It's contrary to how people think business should be done. But I completely agree with you. I think it's powerful, and I do think it comes back, two or threefold, because those people are going, not only the people you refer them to are going to maybe refer somebody to you, but that client is going to remember you. And when somebody asks and your specialty and it is X, they're going to send them to you. I just think it works out. I
Yeah,
really do.
if it's a long game versus a short game. Like, let's
Exactly.
focus on
100%.
next year or the year after and what we're building. It doesn't mean that over time we're not going to try to compete in that as we grow and scale. We're always trying to refine our service offerings and scale some of that stuff. But today, when that customer needs a solution, if it doesn't fit here, let's help
Right.
it someplace.
It's the long game. I love that you said that. Like, a lot of people just forget to play the long game. They're just thinking about the transaction, the right now. What do I need now? And not thinking what would be best for us 6 months from now or a year from now, or just what decisions am I making today that are actually going to be really beneficial long run, even if short term, it causes a little struggle. It's hard to kind of put yourself in that mindset, but when you do, you're able to make these decisions and realize, hey, we're going to get it back. Like, it's going to be okay.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love that. All right, so what was it like going from a really well-oiled machine, which I'll call C.H. Robinson's operations pretty well-oiled? I mean, they were moving and grooving at that time as well as they are now. What was it like going from that to being more kind of like a one-man show? What was the challenges, and what were you glad you learned? That helped you out.
That's a good question. It was like a grinding to a halt. You go from this really busy, you have 1,440 minutes a day. You're flying around at Robinson to sitting at a desk on this import-export team. It's like silence. It was like a library. And talking about brokerage floor and the energy and everything else. And I was like, I'm walking around on the phone, wheeling and dealing, and getting a lot of weird looks. Like, who is this guy? But it was. I would come in at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd print all my own invoices. I'd apply the paperwork behind them. I'd scan them out to the customers. I'd make sales calls. I'd make carrier calls. I'd build the loads. I leaned heavily on what I'd learned at Robinson as far as the parts of the curtain I saw. But then I started to see the whole end to end, from invoice end to checkout, all that kind of stuff. You learn a lot more of that. I was responsible for my P&L, or they called it LOCs there. I was responsible for that. But you start seeing all the numbers come in. It's not just, I guess, to your point, it's not just a load in the system. It's an aggregation of loads into your numbers, everything else. They start viewing things differently. And then once you got busy enough and you hire somebody, I remember the first person I ever hired, she came over from Ryan Transportation, super sharp, but suddenly you feel responsible for her. I'm like, I need to make sales calls today, because not just about covering my costs now, we got to cover your costs too. And we're a team. And then, and I brought you here. It's my responsibility to make sure you're successful. And so your whole mindset starts to change, especially when you don't have the insulation. I mean, it was a big company I worked for, Fortune 100, but still we were our own P&L. Those numbers spit out, and we're responsible to make for the company.
Well, it sounds like you had a great opportunity to have we'll call it security and stability of a large company backing you, but still had almost that startup feel. Like, you had to produce, you had to figure things out. Can you imagine where you'd be in your leadership journey had you not made that decision? And was it scary? Like, was that kind of a scary decision to make, to go from kind of the safety of C.H. Robinson to something completely new? Were you like, yeah, I'm ready for this, I can't wait?
I think if anyone says I'm ready for this, they can't wait, they're probably lying. It was scary because I had a great job at Robinson.
100%.
I had done well there. I had good job security. I had good friends. I don't know if I would not be where I am today without having that kind of middle step between a large company to a smaller one, and having that kind of luxury of a security blanket. No, but yeah, it was very scary. I oscillated on the decision a lot. I remember one of the guys in the office I was very close with at Robinson told me, if you don't take that job, I'll take it. And I was like, no. So, but it sucks quitting any job. There's no other word other than sucks. And so,
one that you like. That is,
one that you like. Yes.
Fair. Not so bad if you don't like it.
Yes. But, I like my job. I like the people. I like the culture, in the Kansas City office. And so, but life's full of seasons, and that season was winding down. I was ready to take the next step I'm a big believer. If you don't step outside your comfort zone, you don't grow as a person. So you got to push yourself. Even doing the show, like I told you before this, I was like, I'm a little nervous, man. You're like, no, you'll do great. But you got to step outside and you got to push yourself to grow and learn.
Yeah, no, 100%. And when I think about that move that you made to do that, and starting to learn, there's two things that happen when you do that. I think one, you realize how much you have learned. Like when you probably took that job, you started to realize, wow, I know that I know how to do this. I learned this. I actually know. You feel confident in some of those areas, but then you also start to realize how much you don't know, and you learn a lot more, like you said. I mean, I think that when you are willing to step out of a comfortable situation into a less comfortable, more challenging situation, it not only solidifies what you learned and what you have, it gives you that little extra confidence, but it also shows you how much more you need to learn. I think that is such a great place to be in life, to be in that spot where, yeah, I've learned a lot. I can feel good about this. I got a long ways to go. Because for me, starting Beta Consulting Group, it was the same thing. Like I didn't know anything about accounting. I've never done accounting. And now I'm like, I'm spending, an hour, in QuickBooks trying to figure out how to balance something. I mean, it's not my cup of tea. And if anybody out there is a really good accountant that's not that expensive, let me know.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to learn these things. And so it's like, even though there's part of what we're doing where I feel super confident from what I've learned in the past, there's so much that I don't know. And to go to your point about being responsible for somebody else, now we have team members at Beta Consulting Group, and man, I feel that weight of like, this isn't just about me anymore. I mean, it's about them and their families and what that's going to do for them. And so I really have to come through. And so it's just been a really interesting journey to experience that. And I'm sure that you would echo very similar thoughts.
Yeah. It's, and obviously they're lending their shoulder into the ball you're pushing up the hill. But you're the one that picked the hill. You're the one that picked the rock. So you better not let them down.
It's a good analogy. I actually like that. That's a really good analogy. So you went from that. You've had a couple of stops along the way. What was it about getting to Sethmar that really enticed you, that excited you? And I want you to talk specifically about that journey to becoming president. I mean, this is your first time in this role. You're probably learning a lot of new stuff as well. But just talk about that progression, getting to Sethmar and then moving into that role. Because you didn't come in at that role.
No. Ben Bolin.
We're good friends.
Ben's why I came to Sethmar. Ben and I, were a year apart at KU, and we knew of each other when we didn't know each other. I knew he was in freight. When we met at an event, I forget which event it was, but then we started going to lunch over time, and we'd commiserate about the industry, much like we talked about the collaboration, everything else. And I really liked, Ben's vibe. I liked what they were doing at Sethmar. Everything else. He said, hey, you've done this kind of stuff before, but not on the total scale. Would you be interested in coming over and helping me with this, with the goal over time of taking over the president role and kind of operating as a team? And it's been fantastic. Him and I have a lot of qualities that they overlap. We're a good yin and yang. For things I'm strong at, he's maybe weaker at. Things that I suck at, he's awesome at. Together we make a pretty good whole. And when you're trying to scale a business and grow it, it's too much for just one person to do.
Yeah. And Ben's a great dude. I love Ben Bolin. Shout out to him. I can't wait to see him again sometime soon. But talk about that for a moment too, because I think, like right now, people are jumping ship. They're taking other positions. The economy is kind of still weird. We have some people laying off, other people hiring. In the last year or so, a lot of people moved jobs to make a lot more money, and they did. But I think some of them might end up being a little disappointed, because I'm of the opinion that the leader is the most important part of a new opportunity. Like, who is leading this thing? Who am I going to follow? Who is the one who's driving this machine? Because at the end of the day, if that leader is not somebody that you resonate with, that you have some similar values to, I think it's going to crash and burn. What are your thoughts on how significant leadership is when you're making a decision like this?
It's everything. It sets the tone from the day you walk in the office to the accountability, the collaboration. I'm a very big believer in, attitude reflects. It's a great quote. Remember the Titans. Jamin always says it. Attitude reflects leadership, and it's such a true quote. And if you have crummy leadership, or they're focused on the wrong thing, or they only care about their EBITDA every month, they're gonna have a really crummy attitude in the office. Or if you're like, hey guys, we all know we've defined roles, defined what winning looks like, and everyone's rowing in the same direction, it's a ton of fun. we don't have a non-compete or anything like that. So everyone that's here wants to be here. And we're proud of that too. Like, if we don't want to make people be here because they're scared, and that resonates too. I think people like to be where they want to be.
Oh, I completely agree with that. And I think that's just so critical. The leader, to me, I've said this before, I'd rather dig ditches with somebody who inspires me, who wants me to grow, and who cares about me deeply, than to have my quote unquote dream job with maybe a leader that's not those things. Because I think eventually it just gets old. It just burns out. And I've been on a journey in the last, 6 months to a year, just studying leaders. And it's been fascinating to me to see the really great leaders out there have a couple of things in common. One, their people love working with them, just love working with them, and then number two, they're winning. They're winning with their clients. They're winning in business. It's rare to find a company where people love working there and they're not winning, or vice versa, where they're winning and the people don't love working there. It's like those things seem to be really synonymous when it comes to leadership and to growth. And I think that's it's really important to keep that in mind when you're stepping into leadership. The people have to want to be there, and if you take care of your people, I think they take care of your clients. They take care of your customers.
100%. If again, focus on doing what's right for the people, doing what's right for the customer, that becomes the ingrained philosophy. People treat each other with respect. Everything else, we have issues just like everyone else, but overarchingly, it's very positive.
Yeah, 100%. So quick question. You moved into presidentship, like the presidency. It's weird to talk like this. You moved into this role. What's been like the biggest surprise or the weirdest thing that's happened, or something like just something off the wall that you just were not expecting in this role?
I mean, grass is always greener, on the other side. So you ask for something, it's, the old adage, be careful what you ask for. I don't think we've had anything weird. But I mean, in transportation, we have weird stuff happen every day, but nothing stands out as far as, really weird request or anything like that.
So smooth sailing is what you're saying? Like it's been
smooth sailing? No. We've had ripples in the water, etc. But it's from dealing with getting a new office space in Arkansas or dealing with moving up here. I mean, but what's awesome again with Ben, and we've built a team over here that really we all complement each other well, and so we delegate stuff to appropriate channels. And I mean, I can't think of. I don't know. I'll let me think on that while we keep talking.
Yeah, that could be a good story if you got something. Yeah. Do you have a parking spot somebody took? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You park in the back now. What do you do?
Well, no, we have a huge parking lot, and our building's pretty much empty except for our floor. I guess, but everyone out front. I don't know if you ever watched this at places like this, but everyone kind of settles into a spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like church. Everybody's got their seat.
And I'm generally here by 6:30, 6:40. But one of the earlier carrier sales guys started taking my parking spot. I made a comment jokingly. I mean, it's a huge parking lot. It's always empty. And the next day, he parked one spot over, and I was like, "No, dude, you can have it. I mean, you can keep it." I was like, "It's not my spot, not my name on it. Just get here early, and I like my spot." But
that's so funny. That's so funny. Like if you want to mess with somebody like at church, go sit in their seat, get there early, and take their spot. And they don't even know what to do. In fact, I was at church yesterday. We had a new family that came in. I knew them, but they were new to our church, and they said, "Hey, where does so and so sit?" And I was like, "Oh, they sit right over there. Go take their spot."
12, 3 seats in. Yeah, no,
that's right. Everybody kind of has their spot. So yeah. So what's on the horizon for Sethmar? What are you guys working on now? You got the move coming up.
Got the move coming up. We launched a Kentucky consolidation program on our wine business a month or two ago. Do
you get free bottles of wine with this wine business? Do you get some samples?
We get damaged free wine, yes, from our wine. Every time they damage stuff, they might throw.
What is damaged wine? I mean, obviously the bottles can't be damaged.
Well, if they rip the case or something loaded on the truck, or maybe they get and it breaks a couple bottles.
Then you get the rest of them.
We get 7 good bottles.
Nice.
But then we're rolling out we've been working on it for the last 6 months, kind of sticking our toe in it, a cross-border business in Laredo. I guess all Mexico into the U.S. That's really went live in July. So we're starting to move freight. And, with the office move. And then we're working on our technology piece. We have an off-the-shelf TMS today. Our plan is to rebuild that. When I started here, we had a proprietary system, so we've been working on that, trying to figure out the right direction to go, and it's not been easy.
Lots on the table. You're now just like overseeing all these projects and kind of keeping all the balls in the air and that kind of thing. I love hearing about it, man. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You need to get golf business and get some damaged golf clubs, like because you get a couple good wedges that come out of a set or
You already
like
have
that.
them, man.
Oh, I know, but you can never have too many golf clubs. Like I'm kind of like, fidgeting around. Like I want to try a 2-iron. I want to hit a couple different wedges, different bounces. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that. So get in the golf business. Let me know.
I'll work on the sales team and get some leads.
Work on that. Get TaylorMade or somebody to, to get in there. Hey, Andy, listen, man, it's been great having you on the show. It always goes by super fast, but man, it's just great to see you. I hope you'll come back and see us again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity and sharing a little bit. And I love the dialogue.
Yeah, no, it was great. And everybody else, thanks for watching. Make sure you come back tomorrow where my guest is going to be the CEO of Green Screens, Dawn Salvucci Favier, one of my favorite people of all time. And we're going to have a great conversation about her run over there, what they're doing at Green Screens. It's going to be awesome. And make sure you come back every day, 10:30, for an episode of Standing Out, a daily podcast about sales, marketing, and leadership. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Monday afternoon, everybody. Take care. We'll see you.